Hi everybody, foXnoMad here, and today I want to help you travel smarter by giving you an update on a mystery that came up during my review of Mint Mobile a couple of months ago. See, Mint Mobile is a carrier in the US that keeps its prices down by foregoing physical stores or salespeople and operating completely online. Mint operates as an MVNO, which is a mobile virtual network operator with T-Mobile as the backbone network that Mint relies on. You may also recognize Mint because it's owned by Ryan Reynolds. If you want more details on what an MVNO is, you can check out the video linked under the subscribe button down below if you want more information. But basically, it's how Mint Mobile in large part is able to keep its prices lower than major carriers like AT&T or T-Mobile. Overall, I was happy with the service Mint Mobile provided, except for one issue that I mentioned, which was data usage. A lot of data usage. A lot of unexplained data usage. It's an issue that I've been testing and investigating since it came up. Over the last few months, I've been trying to figure out what has been causing this unexplained data usage, where all that data is going. And since then, I've come up with a few answers, but I've also come up with a couple more questions. Here's the latest. So let me give you some background first. About a year ago, I started using Mint Mobile to test the service and see if the lower average prices meant worse service or if there was any other trade-offs. Setup was relatively easy, especially if you're comfortable setting up an eSIM, and all the plans are prepaid, 3, 6, or 12 months, typically with discounts for longer plans. I started off with a 4GB plan at $15 a month since I use my phone primarily on Wi-Fi and rarely make actual phone calls. In those cases, my phone's usually in airplane mode, and my typical monthly usage before Mint was around 2.5 to 3 gigabytes. I figured 4 would be enough. A week or two into my plan, though, I hit that data limit and got a notification that I'd have to purchase more data, so I got 5 gigabytes more for $15 extra. And then 10 days later, guess what happened? The same thing. In fact, this happened each month of that first 3 months at 4 gigabytes, so I decided during the next 3 months to just up my plan to 10 gigabytes, figuring that it would just have me covered. And guess what? The same thing happened. I kept hitting data limits and having to purchase extra data on top of the 10 gigabyte data. So then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get the unlimited plan and let's see what happens. And that's when things started to get weird. Prior to that, I tried to find if there was some data leak on my phone. I made sure Wi-Fi Assist was off on my iPhone, which is a feature that uses cellular data when you're on a weak Wi-Fi connection. I also made sure that iCloud and iCloud Drive were off, which they always were, but I wanted to make sure. And yes, they were off. Some of you suggested that Google might be leaking data, but I don't have the Google app on my phone and I don't use an Android. Although Google was sued for leaking data, about 260 megabytes a month, a couple of years ago, so it's not completely out of the realm of question, but I'm pretty sure that I eliminated that as a possibility. Some of you suggested that I turn off cellular data instead of using airplane mode, but airplane mode effectively does that. It turns off the cellular antennas in your phone so that it has to rely on Wi-Fi. And like I mentioned before, my phone is usually in airplane mode. I'd say about 80 to 90% of the time, that's what I'm using. I went from using about 3 gigabytes on average per month of cellular data, then switching to Mint Mobile, then using about 15 gigabytes per month of data, and that is until I switched to the unlimited plan. Prior to switching to that $30 a month or so unlimited Mint Mobile data plan, I made sure that it wasn't a specific app that was leaking data. I checked all of the apps, but also specifically the usual culprits you might expect, like YouTube or a music streaming app. None of that showed up on my phone. To test further, I would keep it in airplane mode for weeks, basically the entire month, except for a couple of hours, 4 to 5 days, where I would turn on cellular data for limited periods. It's only when I switched to the unlimited plan did my data usage go back down to its normal average. So I reached out to Mint Mobile to see if they could share a history of my data usage over the past few months, but they replied that since they're a prepaid service, they don't have such records. Now, if that's true, it would make it very difficult for Mint Mobile if there was an issue with data usage or data leaks or things like that. If there was an issue, if Mint Mobile doesn't have any records past the current month of your usage, then it would make it pretty difficult, if not impossible, for them to investigate such an issue. Whether they have the information but don't share it, or could access those records but don't have the data parsed or organized, or don't keep such records at all, in all three cases, that's a bad look. It means as the consumer, you have to track your data usage from month to month, And if you notice an issue last month or 2 months ago, you start to notice your data creeping up and up and up, and you're using a lot more data than you ever had before using Mint, that means that Mint Mobile doesn't have any records they can go to verify, cross-reference, or check to make sure there isn't a problem. From a customer service perspective, that's something that can be improved, and as many of you have mentioned in the comments, the customer service of Mint Mobile in your experiences hasn't been the best. And so here we are. I've used a small amount of data, I'm on the unlimited plan, and I'm really curious what's going to happen when I go back to a 4 gigabyte plan in a couple of weeks. We will see, and I will keep you updated right here. I do wish though I had a better conclusion for you here right now. I mean, was it a fluke? Was my data usage during those months when I wasn't using an unlimited data plan, was it just a fluke that my phone started using 10, 20 gigabytes more than it ever has before? Was it an error on Mint Mobile's side? Is it something that's tied to the data plan? I don't know right now, but we will see when I switch back to the smaller plan to the limited plan, and I will keep you updated right here. I think though at this point I can effectively rule out that it was some app or something that I was doing on my phone or Wi-Fi assist or any of those things, because I made sure all of those things were verified, checked, and turned off for months and months and months since I posted my original review. It may have been a fluke, in which case we will never know the answer. Maybe there was a problem on Mint Mobile's side, or they weren't tracking data usage properly or something like that, and now that's been resolved and we won't know. But if the issue crops up again when I switch to a limited plan now, then we're going to have a much bigger mystery on our hands. Until then, I'm curious to hear if you use Mint Mobile and have noticed anything like this, any weird data usage, anything going on, or perhaps with another carrier. Let me know down in the comments below, and while you're down there, hit the like and subscribe buttons so you don't miss any coming updates. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this video has been helpful for you, and I'll see you in the next one.